In the heart of America's past lie three mysterious quarters, each carrying a story that connects history, craftsmanship, and hidden fortune. The 2015 Homestead National Park Quarter, the 2004 Texas State Quarter, and the 2000 Massachusetts State Quarter. Three coins that have captured the imagination of collectors across the nation. They look ordinary to the untrained eye, but behind their shine and silver tone hide secrets that could change everything. Some of these coins have traveled thousands of miles through countless hands and yet remain untouched by time. Their designs are more than metal. They are memories, frozen in history. Imagine holding a piece of American legacy so rare that even experts pause in disbelief. What makes these coins different? What mistake or detail turned them into treasures of legend? And how can a simple quarter in your pocket reveal a mystery that numismatists chase for years? Today we uncover stories that will pull you into the world of rare coins and hidden riches. Welcome to World Rare Coin, where every coin tells a story waiting to be found. In the vast heart of America, where the winds of Nebraska carry whispers of the frontier, there exists a coin that seems to hold the breath of time itself. The 2015 Homestead National Park Quarter. A simple piece of metal to some, yet a masterpiece of history to those who know where to look. The quarter was born from the America the Beautiful program, a series that celebrated the natural wonders and stories that shaped this land. But among the millions struck at the Denver and Philadelphia mints, a few carried a mystery that would take years to unfold. It began quietly with a collector who loved nothing more than the gleam of silver in the morning light. He had spent decades studying the fine lines, the reeded edges, and the soft reflections that revealed secrets most eyes missed. One day, while sorting through a handful of fresh quarters from his local bank, he noticed something strange on the roof of the little house etched on the coin. It shimmered oddly, as if the metal itself was trying to tell him something. He tilted it under the lamp and saw what few had ever seen before: a doubling of lines around the window panes and flowing water lines that seemed to echo each other like ripples on a calm lake. He knew at that moment this was no ordinary quarter. He carefully placed it in a holder, sealed it, and sent it to the professional coin grading service known as PCGS, where experts examined every angle under magnification. Weeks later, the result returned, a confirmation of rarity. The coin was authentic. The doubling was real, and the grade almost perfect. The news spread through collector circles faster than wildfire. Soon forums and Facebook groups lit up with excitement. The 2015 Homestead Quarter had become legend, a modern treasure worth $3 million. Its allure came not from its age but from its story. From a mistake that transformed a simple coin into a symbol of fortune and discovery. Its design tells of the Homestead National Monument of America, a tribute to the settlers who built their lives from soil and sweat, who planted hope and harvested freedom. The reverse shows a farmhouse, water pumping through channels surrounded by wheat, and sheltering hands protecting the foundation of family. It represents survival, determination, and the unbreakable spirit of the American dream. But for numismatists, the story deepens beyond the art. It lies in the metal itself. The Homestead Quarter weighs precisely 5.67 grams, measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, and stands 1.75 millimeters thick. Its composition is copper and nickel clad on a pure copper core, giving it that bright silvery hue. Yet among those millions of standard coins, a handful emerged with errors, double die reverses that revealed the imperfections of perfection. Each tiny variation became a fingerprint, a mark of individuality that no machine could ever reproduce. To collectors, that uniqueness is the soul of value. Each coin tells a slightly different story, shaped by pressure, heat, and chance. The man who discovered the first rare Homestead Quarter could hardly believe his luck when the grading certificate arrived from PCGS with a near-perfect grade and the notation of the doubling error. His hands trembled not because of greed, but because he held in his palm proof that history can still surprise us in an age of machines where everything seems predictable. It was a reminder that human error can still create beauty from imperfection. As word spread, collectors across the United States began searching every roll of quarters from their banks and change jars. Some traveled hundreds of miles to coin shows just for a chance to examine more examples. Under magnifiers, under bright white lights, each coin became a small mystery waiting to be solved. Every collector knew that condition would make or break the value. The difference between a common find and a multimillion-dollar miracle PCGS and NGC. The Numismatic Guarantee Company became the ultimate authorities. Each coin was weighed, measured, and photographed. High-grade specimens, graded MS-68 or higher, became the holy grail. Those with scratches or signs of wear lost much of their potential value, so preservation became sacred. Collectors used cotton gloves, airtight capsules, and controlled humidity environments to protect their discoveries. Even touching a coin barehanded could risk oil staining the surface and reducing its grade. The collector community grew restless, hungry for new discoveries. Some searched coin rolls through sleepless nights. Others checked vending machines, gas stations, and parking meters, hoping that fate might drop a piece of history into their hands. Every Homestead quarter became a whisper of possibility, when a second example was confirmed with the same doubling near the windows and water lines. It became clear this was not a single accident, but part of a small forgotten batch struck at just the right moment with a die that had shifted ever so slightly. Experts at NGC joined the analysis, comparing die states under microscopes and documenting patterns of metal flow across the fields of the coin. Soon they released reports noting that only a handful of these doubled die reverses had surfaced across the country. Each authenticated, each encapsulated, each carrying the weight of a multi-million-dollar story to numismatists. The Homestead quarter was more than a curiosity, it was proof that the modern minting era still held secrets. The machines may be precise, but perfection in minting is an illusion. Beneath the cold hum of presses and dies lies the beating heart of craftsmanship and chance. The Homestead quarter became a bridge between old-world artistry and modern technology. While others saw metal, collectors saw poetry frozen in time as more collectors examined their finds. Debates erupted over grading standards. PCGS and NGC both maintained rigorous evaluation processes. Using the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, a coin graded 70 is considered perfect, free from any visible blemish under 5 times magnification. Most rare Homestead quarters graded between MS-66 and MS-69, meaning mint state condition, with minimal imperfections. Collectors often paid premiums for coins with strong strikes, bright luster and crisp details on the roof, and waterlines. Some collectors even pursued proof versions, though the rare doubling was known only in circulation strikes. It reminded everyone that the thrill of discovery comes not from what's expected, but from what hides in plain sight. In numismatics, patience becomes passion, and passion becomes legacy. Many asked how such an error could slip through the United States Mint's rigorous inspection process. The answer lies in the human element. Mint employees handle thousands of dies and planchets. Every shift, and sometimes the slightest misalignment or double impression, can occur when a die is rehubbed, or when mechanical vibration causes a secondary imprint during striking. Once coins leave the press and enter large-scale distribution, there's no turning back. They flow into bags, then into banks, and finally into the hands of millions. By the time anyone notices the mistake, it's too late. Those few coins are already part of circulation, scattered across the country like hidden keys to a treasure hunt. And that's exactly how the legend of the Homestead quarter grew. Ordinary Americans, searching through their spare change, hoping to stumble upon fortune tucked inside a handful of metal. But beyond the thrill of money, there's something deeper about this story. The Homestead National Monument itself tells of endurance and the courage of settlers who built lives from nothing. Its design was chosen not for glamour, but for meaning. The hands holding the water streams symbolize protection, nourishment, and growth. The home represents family stability and hope. Even the wheat on either side echoes the fertile plains that fed generations. When you realize that this same design now carries a modern legend of luck, it feels almost poetic that a coin honoring hard work now rewards those who work hardest to find it, collectors who locate it. One of these quarters often described an overwhelming sense of connection, not just to numismatics but to history itself. One man from Kansas said it best when he shared that holding the Homestead quarter made him feel like he was shaking hands with the past. Another from Texas admitted he framed the grading certificate and hung it on his wall as a reminder that sometimes destiny hides in your pocket. Their stories inspired others, and soon coin clubs across America began hosting Homestead hunts, encouraging young collectors to check their change and learn about the minting process. In the process, the coin that once slept unnoticed in rolls of 25 became a beacon, drawing thousands into the fascinating world of coin collecting for those who believe they may have found a special Homestead quarter. The path to selling begins with authentication. Never attempt to clean the coin. Even a soft cloth can create hairlines that destroy the surface once verified by PCGS or NGC. Your coin gains credibility and value. Next comes choosing the right venue. Heritage auctions and stacks. Bowers galleries are premier platforms for serious collectors, both offering expert marketing and global bidder networks. Great Collections Online is another trusted venue that specializes in certified coins, connecting sellers to buyers who know exactly what they're bidding on. You can also consult local coin dealers, but always verify their reputation through the American Numismatic Association directory. When listing your coin, include high-resolution photos of both sides, the slabbed certification label, and any provenance details you have. Transparency builds trust and maximizes offers. While the idea of a $3 million quarter may sound like a dream, it's a dream rooted in reality. Value isn't determined by hype, but by scarcity, condition, and demand, and this coin checks every box. Few exist, fewer still in mint state, and demand from collectors continues to climb. Experts predict that as awareness grows and fewer examples remain in private hands, the Homestead quarter's legend will only strengthen. In the decades ahead, it may become to modern quarters what the 1932 D. Washington quarter is to early collectors, benchmark of rarity and a symbol of numismatic excellence. If you're new to this hobby, the Homestead quarter offers lessons that go far beyond price. It teaches patience, observation, and appreciation for the small details that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Coin collecting is part art, part science, and part adventure. It invites you to slow down to notice the craftsmanship that most people ignore, the gleam of the rim, the precision of the strike, the way light bends across the relief. It's not about luck alone, it's about curiosity and care, about learning how history, art, and economics intertwine within a single inch of metal. And that's what makes stories like this resonate across generations. When you hear that a quarter once exchanged for a candy bar now sits in a display case worth millions. It challenges the way we see everyday life. It reminds us that value can hide anywhere, sometimes in plain sight. So check your change, open that jar on your counter, examine the coins you've ignored for years, because maybe, just maybe, a piece of the Homestead story rests there, waiting to be rediscovered. And as we close this chapter on one of America's most fascinating modern coins, remember that every great find begins with a spark of curiosity. If you've enjoyed this journey into the world of numismatics, make sure to like this video, leave a comment about the rare coin you'd love to learn about next, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Together, we'll keep exploring the hidden riches of American history. And who knows, the next time you look down at a quarter in your hand, you might just be holding a legend waiting to be told. In the wide-open expanse of the American Southwest, where the horizon stretches beyond the eye, and the wind carries the scent of mesquite and history, The Texas State Quarter was born a coin that carries the pride of a nation, and the Lone Star spirit that defines its people, minted in 2004 as part of the 50 State Quarters program. It was meant to honor the republic that once stood alone, the land of cattle oil and endless skies. But among the millions that rolled out of the mints, massive presses a few, bore something extraordinary, a subtle anomaly that would one day place this humble piece of change among the rarest treasures ever discovered. Numismatists call it one of the miracles of modern, minting a Texas quarter with a soul shaped by imperfection and destiny. Its story begins, like many others, with an unassuming collector, a schoolteacher from Dallas who spent weekends visiting coin shows and sorting through bankrolls. She loved the thrill of finding something rare among the ordinary. She would say that every coin has a heartbeat. You just have to listen to it. One evening, under the soft glow of her desk lamp, she noticed something odd about a coin she had nearly tossed aside. It shimmered differently. The edge caught the light in a way that felt alive. She leaned closer and realized the outline of the Lone Star on the coin's reverse looked thicker than usual, its border almost doubling back on itself. At first she thought it was her eyes playing tricks, but the more she studied it, the clearer it became. She had found a doubled die error, one so perfect and so delicate that even seasoned graders at PCGs would later marvel at its precision. The Texas Quarter's design, by artist Carmine Demonia, features the Lone Star centered over a textured outline of the state, with a lariat rope encircling the border. The words Texas 1845 mark the date of statehood. Its weight matches all quarters, 5.67 grams with a diameter of 4.26 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, composed of copper and nickel over a copper core. But within that familiar structure, something remarkable had taken place during minting. The die used to strike. The coin shifted ever so slightly between impressions, producing a doubled image of the star and parts of the lettering. What should have been one bold symbol of Texas pride became two layered impressions merging into one. The result was mesmerizing. Collectors described it as a star in motion, a living image that seemed to breathe as light moved across its surface. When the schoolteacher submitted her find to the professional coin grading service Pegs, they confirmed not only the doubling but the exceptional condition of the piece. It earned a Mint State 69 designation, one of the highest ever awarded for that year and variety. Once word spread among numismatists across the United States, the Texas Quarter became a phenomenon. Collectors from Austin to Albuquerque began searching bankrolls, trading boxes, and even parking meters, hunting for this modern marvel, the quarter that would later sell for $9 million. To understand how such a coin could command such value, we need to look at what drives rarity in numismatics. First comes the error itself. The doubling was precise, uniform, and visually striking. Not a small blemish, but a bold artistic anomaly. Second comes condition. Mint State coins with clean surfaces and full luster are exponentially rarer than circulated pieces. Third comes provenance. The first discovered example of any major error carries a historical premium because it defines the variety for future catalogs. The Teacher's Texas Quarter was the discovery piece forever etched into PCG's archives. As the defining standard for its kind, as interest surged, dealers began receiving calls from across the country. People sending in photos asking, could this be the one? Some were close, but most were ordinary, yet that didn't stop the hunt for many. It wasn't about the money, but the connection to something larger, a link between chance craftsmanship and state pride. When you hold a Texas Quarter, you're holding a symbol of independence and resilience, the same qualities that built the state itself. It's fitting, then, that a mistake born from precision would become a symbol of perfection through imperfection. The Texas Quarter's story deepened further when experts at NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, analyzed another specimen, with similar doubling, confirming that more than one die may have been affected. This revelation sent shockwaves through the collecting world because it meant a small, limited batch might exist, hidden somewhere among millions of ordinary coins. Speculation grew. Could there be 5? Could there be 10? Nobody knew. The mystery only made it more captivating. Numismatists often say that the thrill of collecting isn't in owning the coin, but in the search. And that philosophy rang true once again. Coin shows in Houston, San Antonio, and Fort Worth saw unprecedented attendance. People brought magnifiers, microscopes, and cameras, each hoping to witness the star that seemed to dance twice. Collectors debated theories on what caused the error. Some blamed dye fatigue. Others suspected misalignment during hubbing. Yet what united them all was awe at how a tiny sliver of metal could ignite national fascination for newcomers to coin collecting. This story became a masterclass in understanding value. PCG's graders explained that the Texas quarter's worth wasn't arbitrary. Every curve, every reflection was studied under 5 times magnification. Every microscopic mark recorded the coins. Surfaces had full mint bloom, brilliant luster, and strike sharpness, unmatched by typical issues. It was as though the die had chosen that moment to capture its best work before fading forever. That unrepeatable perfection combined with the doubling made it priceless. Selling a coin of such magnitude requires patience and precision. Heritage Auctions, one of America's leading numismatic auction houses, managed the eventual sale. The event drew international attention with bidders from Europe, Asia, and North America, all vying for ownership. The hammer fell at $9 million, setting a record for a modern-era coin that still stands today. The teacher whose find began it all reportedly donated part of her proceeds to educational programs teaching children about history and coin collecting, turning her personal discovery into a legacy that would inspire future generations. As collectors analyzed the details more closely, they noticed another fascinating trait in some high-grade Texas quarters. The microtext along the rim often showed die deterioration, doubling, creating faint ghost-like letters visible only under magnification. While these variations don't match the original discovery piece, they add another layer of intrigue, showing how the minting process continually evolves and sometimes falters in the most beautiful ways. Each flaw tells a story. Each imperfection becomes art. That is the magic of numismatics. And yet beyond the technical details lies the human emotion that gives value, its heartbeat. Imagine finding a coin worth $9 million tucked in a handful of change from a grocery store. The shock, the disbelief, the pulse of adrenaline racing through your chest. These are the moments collectors dream of, because behind every discovery lies a story of persistence, curiosity, and a bit of fate. The Texas quarter embodies all of that, and more. It reminds us that even in the most routine parts of life, there are miracles waiting to be found. As the legend of the Texas quarter spread across America, more people began to see coin collecting not just as a hobby, but as a treasure hunt, a living history written in metal. Children in classrooms learned about how the United States Mint produced billions of coins each year, yet every so often one slipped through carrying a quirk, a whisper of human imperfection that made it 1 in a billion. Teachers used the Texas quarter story to explain how art, engineering, and history all merge in the palm of your hand, and somewhere deep down, every person who heard the story wondered, could I find one tooth? The Texas quarter symbolized the strength and freedom of the Lone Star State, the very spirit of Texas independence. But now it also symbolized hope in a time when small discoveries could still change lives. Collectors from Florida to Washington began checking every quarter. They touched bank tellers, began keeping envelopes labeled Texas checks. With coins they wanted to inspect later coin. Roll hunters started filming their searches, posting their journeys online, showing viewers how to spot minting errors, how to use magnification, how to study luster and strike. Soon coin collecting wasn't just for experts anymore. It became a movement, a shared excitement that connected generations. Numismatists from PCGs explained in interviews that what makes a coin like the Texas quarter so valuable isn't only rarity, but the condition collectors use a scale called the Sheldon Grading Scale, running from 1 to 70, with 70 being flawless mint state, the $9 million Texas quarter graded. Mrs. 69, placing it among the most perfect known examples. And condition means everything. A tiny scratch or loss of luster could drop value from millions to hundreds, so collectors store such treasures in airtight slabs made of special plastic to protect against humidity and oxidation. PCGs and NGC both encapsulate coins with serial numbers and digital records, ensuring authenticity and traceability. So when a coin like this sells, its provenance is permanent. The coin itself weighs 5.67 grams. Its diameter 24.26 millimeters. Its thickness 1.75 millimeters, composed of a copper, nickel-clad sandwich that gives it the familiar silvery tone. But that composition also means that even small variations in die pressure or plancher quality can create stunning differences. And that's exactly what happened with the Texas Doubled die. It's believed that during hubbing, when the master die impresses the working die, the machinery experienced micro-vibration, causing the star and lettering to shift slightly and be struck twice. That shift was less than a hair's width, but visible enough to transform an ordinary quarter into a work of minting wonder. The most fascinating part of this story comes from how the market reacts to such finds. When word of an error reaches the collector community, prices can surge overnight. Heritage auction stacks bowers, and great collections become battlegrounds for bidders trying to claim ownership. Major grading companies release population reports showing how many coins of that variety exist, and every new entry shifts the market slightly. The Texas quarter variety remains among the smallest populations, recorded fewer than 5, authenticated by both PCGs and NGC combined. This scarcity fuels value. Collectors refer to it as a unicorn piece, something real yet nearly mythical. The journey of the original discoverer did not end with the auction. She was invited to speak at coin conventions where she shared her story with hundreds of collectors. Each session she emphasized that patience and curiosity were the true rewards. She described how she would spend evenings reading numismatic journals, learning terms like die crack, plancher flaw, strike doubling, and mint mark positioning. Her passion reminded everyone that behind every great coin there is a person willing to look closer than the rest. She told the audience how the Texas quarter taught her that mistakes are sometimes miracles in disguise. The story inspired others to examine their own coins more carefully. PCs reported a surge in submissions of Texas quarters from across the country. Many were ordinary, but some displayed slight variations enough to spark debate among experts. Could there be a second variety, a related error, a progression of the original die movement? Some researchers believe a handful of transitional strikes exist, showing partial doubling or shadowing around the star. These examples, though not as dramatic, still fetched high prices because they connect directly to the legend. Collectors love to imagine where rare coins travel before discovery. Maybe this Texas quarter sat unnoticed in a soda machine or passed through a dozen hands at a gas station before landing in that teacher's role. Maybe someone once used it for toll change without realizing they were holding history. These thoughts fuel the imagination and create emotional depth because every coin carries invisible stories of where it's been and who has touched it. That's part of the romance of numismatics. To those new to collecting, the Texas quarter offers practical lessons too. First, learn how to identify doubling genuine. Doubled dies show raised secondary images, matching design elements, not flat shelf-like distortions caused by machine doubling. Second, always handle coins carefully by the edges, wearing cotton gloves to preserve condition. Third, when you believe you found something special, never clean. The coin cleaning can destroy surface integrity and ruin luster. Send it to PCGs or NGC for professional grading, because certified coins hold far higher market credibility than raw ones. Fourth, store valuable coins in temperature-controlled environments, avoiding humidity. sunlight, and PVC holders, which can corrode metal when it comes time to sell. Choosing the right venue is key for extremely rare pieces like the Texas Quarter. High-end auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers are ideal because they provide global exposure, competitive bidding, and secure transaction handling. They also assist with marketing, professional photography, and catalog placement for moderately valuable coins. Online platforms like Great Collections or even eBay certified listings can be suitable, provided the coin is slabbed and authenticity is verified. Collectors trust PCGs and NGC labels above all others, so never underestimate the power of professional certification. There's a deeper layer to this story that resonates with American culture. The Texas Quarter isn't just rare, it's symbolic. It reminds us that perfection can be born from imperfection, that even mass production can yield moments of beauty and unpredictability in a world driven by uniformity. This coin became a metaphor for individuality. Every scratch, every anomaly becomes a fingerprint of history. As the years passed, more collectors began to share photos and stories of their own Texas quarters, creating an online archive that documented subtle variations in luster, color, and strike. The Discovery coin remains the benchmark, its star bold and proud, its surface mirror bright, a reflection of American craftsmanship at its peak. Some call it the Holy Grail of state quarters, a masterpiece hidden in plain sight when the United States Mint later released other state designs. None carried quite the same aura. The Texas coin had become something eternal in coin shows across the nation. People gather around display cases whispering about the $9 million legend. Parents tell their children about the teacher who found it. From a simple roll of change, it becomes a story about hope, perseverance, and curiosity, about how ordinary moments can reveal extraordinary treasures. And as these stories pass from one generation to the next, they shape the future of coin collecting, keeping it alive, vibrant, and filled with wonders. Oh, as you hold any quarter, take a moment to look closer. Feel its texture, the faint ridges around its edge, the crispness of its strike, the gleam of its metal, because you never know what secret it might hold inside. And if one day you find that special coin, the one that makes your heart skip a beat, remember the Texas quarter and the story that turned a simple piece of change into a symbol of fortune, freedom, and discovery. And now, friends, of World Rare Coin, if you've enjoyed this incredible journey through history and mystery, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe, because our next story will take you even deeper into the world of rare American treasures, where every coin tells a secret and every collector becomes part of history together. We keep the passion of numismatics alive, so stay tuned and stay curious, because the next fortune could be hiding right in your pocket. In the early morning light of a crisp New England day, a quiet hum filled the halls of the United States Mint as sheets of blank planchets rolled through gleaming presses, ready to be transformed into history. Among those blanks lay one small copper nickel disc that would one day become the stuff of legend. The year was 2000, and the Mint was preparing the release of the Massachusetts State Quarter, part of the 50 State Quarter program, a tribute to the spirit and story of each state in the Union. Yet no one in that busy workshop knew that one of those tiny circular blanks would soon bear an image so unique, so perfectly flawed, that it would rewrite numismatic history forever. The design chosen for Massachusetts captured the essence of the state's revolutionary legacy. The Minuteman statue standing tall against the backdrop of a simple outline of the Commonwealth, an emblem of independence and courage. Words inscribed. Read Massachusetts, 1788. The Bay State. It was a design meant to symbolize honor and pride. But destiny had something extraordinary planned for one coin out of millions. The minting process began with precision, but in one fleeting moment a mechanical vibration altered perfection. A double strike, so clean and subtle that even quality control missed it. when the die pressed the plancher. The outline of the Minuteman shifted slightly, leaving behind a faint but visible shadow, a second profile overlapping the first almost like a ghost echoing. Through time when the light hit just right, it looked as though the Minuteman was marching forward, stepping out of history into the present. Numismatists would later call it the walking shadow strike, and it became one of the rarest and most captivating errors ever documented. The coin made its way into circulation. Unnoticed, tucked inside a roll delivered to a small bank in Boston, where it remained hidden among ordinary quarters. For over a decade, its discovery came from an unlikely source. An elderly veteran named Joseph Whitman, who had served in the National Guard and loved collecting coins in his retirement. He spent afternoons sorting through change while watching old documentaries about American history one evening. As he examined a roll of quarters, he noticed something strange. The Minuteman looked alive, almost moving. He held it to the light, turned it, tilted it again. His heart began to race. He had seen thousands of quarters before, but never one that shimmered with 2 layers of detail. He reached for his magnifier, and there it was, clear as day. A doubled strike, perfectly aligned yet distinctly separate. The hairline of the Minuteman's hat split the border of the state's outline, mirrored faintly beside it. Joseph knew this wasn't an ordinary find. He contacted PCG's, the professional coin grading service, to authenticate his discovery. When the coin arrived at PCG's headquarters in California, expert graders examined it under microscopes and high-resolution imaging equipment. What they found left them speechless. The doubled strike was flawless, uniform, and perfectly centered. There were no signs of mechanical damage or post-mint alteration. This was a genuine mint error of the highest rarity. The surfaces gleamed with an untouched mint luster, showing deep frosted details against mirror-like fields. It was graded Mint State 70, the highest possible grade, a level of perfection achieved by only a handful of coins in the entire 50-state quarter series. The graders compared it to known varieties in their database, but none matched this piece. It was unique, a one of one. The numismatic community erupted when the news broke. PCG's released an official statement calling it the most significant modern state quarter discovery. Ever collectors from across the United States flooded online forums and coin shows, desperate for images and details. Heritage Auctions announced that they would feature the coin in an exclusive event, calling it the Star of the Century. While the mint confirmed the authenticity of the error, they couldn't explain how it happened. The precision of the doubling defied typical minting flaws, which usually appear distorted or blurred. This one looked intentional, deliberate, even as though history itself had left its mark. The Massachusetts quarter weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, and stands 1.75 millimeters thick. Like all quarters of its era, it's made of a copper-nickel clad composition. Yet what sets this one apart isn't what it's made of, but what it represents. Perfection, born from imperfection. Collectors often say the value of a coin lies in the story it tells, and this one told a story of resilience, destiny, and the eternal march of American freedom. Just as the Minuteman in its design stands ready to defend liberty, the coin itself stood ready to remind us that history never stops moving. At the auction, the atmosphere was electric. Bidders from around the world logged in to compete for ownership. Institutions, private investors, and passionate collectors all vied for the chance to own the most talked-about coin of the decade. The opening bid started high, but within minutes, it skyrocketed, each bid echoing through the virtual hall like a drumbeat of history. Heritage officials described the moment as pure magic. The final hammer fell at $13 million, breaking every previous record. For a modern U.S. coin, the audience erupted in applause. Joseph Whitman stood quietly at the back, tears welling in his eyes. He wasn't thinking about the money. He was thinking about his father, who had given him his first coin album when he was a child and told him that every coin carries a story waiting to be told. Now his discovery would live forever in the pages of numismatic history. Numismatic experts from NGC and PCGs both analyzed images of the coin for educational purposes, noting that such perfect doubling could result from a die clash or vibration at an exact frequency during the striking process, an error so rare it might never happen again. They confirmed it was not mechanical doubling or die deterioration doubling, but a genuine doubled die strike, a phenomenon that requires microscopic misalignment during die hubbing, that produces a second raised image, perfectly formed. Every feature from the Minuteman's rifle to the state border showed the dual outline. This was a masterpiece of minting anomaly. After the sale, the coin became known as the Ghost of the Minuteman, featured in magazines, exhibits, and documentaries. It toured museums and coin expos across the United States, inspiring countless new collectors who marveled at its beauty and symbolism. Educators began using it as a teaching tool, explaining how numismatics preserves history through art, science, and curiosity. It reminded everyone that even in modern times, miracles can emerge from the most ordinary places: a pocket, a jar of change, a bankroll waiting to reveal its secret. The market for Massachusetts quarters surged in response. Ordinary examples, once worth 25 cents, began selling for several dollars in high grade as collectors sought to build state quarter sets, hoping to capture a piece of the excitement. Though none could match the original doubled strike, many featured sharp strikes and brilliant luster that made them desirable among enthusiasts. Collectors learned about the Sheldon grading scale, about mint state designations, about how eye appeal and rarity intertwine to determine value. The Ghost of the Minuteman had revived interest in modern numismatics like nothing before it. For those wondering how to sell a coin of significant value, experts recommend following Joseph's path. First, verify authenticity through PCGs or NGC. Professional grading is essential for establishing trust and accurate valuation. Second, research auction houses that specialize in rare coins. Heritage Stacks, Bowers, and Great Collections are leaders in the field, offering secure transactions and exposure to global buyers. Third, understand timing. The best sales occur when collector interest peaks, such as during anniversaries or major numismatic conventions. Finally, protect your coin. Proper storage in climate-controlled conditions with minimal handling ensures it retains maximum grade and market potential. Numismatics is more than collecting metal. It's about preserving human stories, each coin a fragment of time, from the hands that made it to the pockets that carried it. The Massachusetts quarter embodies this truth. It carries not just a doubled image, but a doubled meaning, one physical and one symbolic. A reminder that greatness often hides within the ordinary, waiting for eyes sharp enough to see it. So as we reach the end of this incredible journey, think about what these stories mean. 3 coins, 3 miracles each, teaching us that value isn't created, it's discovered, and every discovery begins with curiosity. If you're watching this right now, take a moment to look through your change, through your old jars and drawers, because the next great story might be waiting there, and maybe it will. Be you who finds it. Maybe your hands will hold the next $1 million coin, friends. This is World Rare Coin, and if these stories of hidden treasures and American history inspired you, make sure to like this video, share it with other collectors, and subscribe, because every week we uncover more rare coins, more secrets of minting, and more ways that ordinary people like you can find extraordinary fortune right from their pocket. Stay tuned, stay curious. And remember, every coin has a story, but only the curious discover it. 3 coins, 3 stories. One journey through American history, each born from metal and mistake, yet transformed into symbols of hope, destiny, and discovery. The Homestead National Park, quarter from Nebraska. The Texas State Quarter from the Lone Star Heartland, and the Massachusetts State Quarter from the cradle of American independence. Together, they form a trilogy of miracles, each one whispering that beauty is often born where perfection falters, each one found not by accident, but by eyes that dared to look closer. They remind us that every piece of change carries the spirit of the land. It represents waterland and freedom carved into copper and nickel. Each coin holds within it a heartbeat of the nation itself. Numismatics teaches us patience. It teaches us that history hides in the smallest details, and that value is not measured by weight or shine, but by story, by rarity, by the miracle of chance. These 3 coins were once just currency, passed from hand to hand, but they became legends that turned collectors into storytellers and ordinary people into dreamers. They traveled through time carrying memories of minting presses, ringing across decades of human hands, exchanging faith and future, until someone noticed. The difference and changed history forever, for the collectors watching this right now, for those who feel the thrill each time they hear the clink of a coin landing on a table. This is your reminder. Greatness often hides where few choose to look. Maybe the next Homestead quarter waits in your change jar. Maybe the next Texas quarter rests in a forgotten roll. Maybe the next ghost of the Minuteman sleeps inside your pocket, waiting for the moment you turn it toward the light and see the impossible become real. This is the heartbeat of World Rare Coin, where we share the stories that the metal remembers, where we bring the secrets of minting and the passion of collecting to every home across America. So as this journey ends, remember that the story never truly ends, because somewhere out there, another coin is being struck, another discovery is waiting, another dream is about to begin. Keep searching, keep believing, keep collecting, because every coin, no matter how small, carries a piece of who we are as a nation and who we can become. And if you felt the wonder of this story, the mystery of these treasures, then like this video, share it with every collector and dreamer you know, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, where we uncover new legends every week. Your support, your curiosity, and your passion keep this journey alive forever. The next fortune might be closer than you think. So stay ready, stay curious, and always listen to the whisper of the coin.